machine. A touch of absurdity there. Nice. Is this some kind of joke?
Good things can still happen.
What's wrong with you? You mean someone stole your badge?
I'm not a real police officer. You are.
What the What are you doing?
If you could only find your gun.
Disco Elysium. The final cut.
Cześć, ja jestem Geeks, a to jest kolejny odcinek z gry Disco Elysium. Skończyliśmy sobie ostatnio na zwiedzaniu portu, tudzież stoczni. Udało nam się przemknąć obok gigantycznego strażnika. No i co, napotkaliśmy takiego śmiesznego gostka, który sobie podśpiewuje wesoło. Jak zresztą słyszycie. Dobrze, Luźny Leo.
The accent is so thick.
Cześć.
Evrart, he looks after everyone. Huh? Well, hey there. How can I help you, mister?
The look in his deep blue eyes is as sincere as you've ever seen.
O,
Kind of makes you feel like an arsehole for no apparent reason.
czyli to jest dobry człowiek.
I see you are not a union man, mister. Did you get lost? You're not one of them scabs, are you?
Jego miła twarz staje się przez chwilę surowa. Co wy macie z tymi miłymi strajkami, ludzie?
I mean, I don't personally mind. Folks is just folks, you know, and folks gotta eat.
Nie wygląda, jakby oczekiwał od ciebie jakiejś odpowiedzi.
Just some of the other guys don't look too kindly on the scabbing kind, if you know what I mean, mister.
Jesteś Ubi, prawda?
Oh yes, born and raised in Irish, mister. Mum had to leave my dad after he got a bit violent. Took us here to the new world. I was about 10 then, too old to lose my accent then. People say us Ubis are up to all sorts of trouble with sheep and other animals and whatnot. I just want you to know there was never any of that where I come from. No sir, those are just nasty rumors.
Okej, czyli to jest jakaś jakby arabska rasa.
Thank you for clarifying that, sir.
Co robisz z tymi kontenerami?
Oh, I'm just making some covers for them containers here. Yes I am, yes I am. So it's easier for the crane operators to spot them.
Mogę wykonać test na logikę, ale 28% szans. O jest. Bardzo nisko. Jasne, mógłbym spytać cię o coś innego?
Sure, mister. About what?
Gdzie się wszyscy podzieli? Port jest pusty.
Oh, most of the guys are down at the gates, keeping the scabs from coming in.
Pochyla się z poufnym wyrazem twarzy.
We're on a strike. The whole union is. You don't have to work when you're on strike. Ha! We haven't worked for 2 months now.
So no one is working?
Not everyone is down there, of course. Mr. Evrart is in his office, where he always is. And Jean-Luc is guarding the gate.
Okej, milknie, by się zastanowić.
But Titus and his boys got into some drunken trouble and Evrart sent them on a nice vacation. For a week or so.
Milknie, ale sprawia wrażenie, jakby chciał powiedzieć ci więcej. Co przeskrobali ten Titus i jego kumple?
Oh, I'm not really supposed to talk about that. That's union business.
Uśmiecha się i pochyla w twoim kierunku.
Him and his boys stirred up something in town. Probably drank too much and got into a fight or something. I heard Mr. Evrart telling them to take some time off.
Ciekawe. Może pobili naszego Denata. No dobra, ale co tak konkretnie zrobili?
I guess the boys got a bit too rowdy and had to let out some steam. I don't really know the details. That's just how boys are, you know. I haven't been in a fight since I was in middle school.
Easy, Leo. Let's keep this on the hearties.
Za bardzo nabuzowali? Leo, w jaką oni się wdali bójkę? Zabili może najemnika? Trochę może zbyt bezpośrednie? Albo no dobra, Leo, posłuchajmy o tej bójce, w którą się wdałeś.
I remember I was the runt of the class. The bigger boys always used to pick on me. You see, I had a bit of a temper back in the day. Flew off the handle like nobody's business. But Mr. Evrart and his brother always came to help. Once they beat old Noel Becker so bad he needed stitches on his head. Noel never started another fight with anyone after this. Mr. Evrart and Mr. Edgar are real nice guys, mister. You should go talk to Mr. Evrart. I'm sure you'll be good friends. He's friends with everyone around here.
Pracujesz tu?
Yes, yes. Everybody needs a job, and this is mine. I'm Leonard, by the way. Leonard Bellick. But everyone calls me Leo.
Drobny mężczyzna unosi rękę w geście powitania.
I'm like Mr. Evrart's right-hand man when Mr. Edgar is out of town, and Mr. Edgar's right-hand man when Mr. Evrart is away. Actually, Miss Beaufort is the right-hand man, but she's a lady.
Who is this, Miss Beaufort?
A real pretty lady with a skin like those douce sucre candy bars my missus likes so much. Them are real nice to suckle on once the dinner is done and me and the missus sit down beside the radio. But I can't listen to the radio all the time. There's so much to do around here and I'm always busy keeping things running here. Yes I am, yes I am.
Czekaj no, kim jest ta panna Beaufort, o której wspomniałeś?
Oh, Lizzie, she is a real sharp tool. Mr. Evrart put her through some fancy school and everything, east of the river. 4 years she was gone, and when she came back, she was all fancy and lawyerly. But she's a real nice girl. Grew up in this here neighborhood, knows everybody and gets along with everyone. Real pillar of the community one day, I'm sure.
For a fraction of a second, there's sadness in his eyes.
Smutek mówisz?
If me missus and me was to have a child, I'd be real happy if she turned out like her. But she can't have kids.
O,
Dr. Lemaitre said so, and she knows about such things. Been a doctor for almost 50 years she has.
myślę, że odwalasz tu kawał dobrej roboty, Leo.
Yes, this place really seems to run like clockwork. Keep it up, Leo.
Porucznik uśmiecha się do drobnego mężczyzny.
Well, thanks a lot. Coming from you, it means a lot, really.
Chociaż wydawało się to niemożliwe, mężczyzna uśmiecha się jeszcze szerzej.
Sometimes I feel some of the guys don't really get how much I bust my ass for them here. But you guys are alright.
W ogóle patrzcie, jak się rozpadało.
The white rectangle on your clothes might not mean an awful lot in Martinez, but the recognition from an authority figure made Leo's day.
To jest ciekawe. Jeszcze chciałem wrócić do jednego dialogu, gdzie się wszyscy podzieli.
Oh, we're on a strike.
So
Czekajcie.
no one is working.
But Titus and his boys got into some drunken trouble and, him and his boys stirred up something and I guess the boys...
Easy, Leo. Let's keep this on the hearties.
Dobra, chciałem o tą bójkę właśnie zapytać. Za bardzo nabuzowali? Leo, w jaką oni się wdali bójkę? Zabili może najemnika?
Too late. Leo's mouth is still moving, and the words are spewing forth. Words, words, and look, even more words. This guy could go on till the end of days. Now he's talking about some drunk sawmill owner who... No, he already switched to a prized fishing rod he apparently owned at some point. You know what? Just cut in there with your questions.
Dobra, nic ciekawego nie powiedział. Kolejne pytanko. Co jest w tamtym kontenerze? Wskaż kontener wiszący na żurawiu.
Oh, that one. That should be empty as far as I know. Lots of containers here have nothing in them. They're just waiting to be loaded up.
Told you.
Szukam przewodniczącego związku robotników portowych.
Oh, you want Mr. Evrart then? He's an awfully nice fellow, he is. Him and his brother are both nice fellows. They've lived their entire lives in this here neighborhood.
Kaszle, po czym natychmiast kontynuuje.
Guys like Mr. Evrart and Mr. Edgar, his brother, are real good guys. Made Martinez what it is today. Mr. Evrart and Mr. Edgar and I went to the same school we did when we were boys.
Spokojnie, Leo. Chcę się tylko dowiedzieć, gdzie mogę znaleźć tego człowieka.
Oh, Mr. Evrart is where he always is. In his office, of course.
Dobra, idę stąd.
Bye bye
Odejdź.
now.
Ciekawe, czy ten rzut na logikę został umieszczony w mojej mapie. Wrota kontenera, zegar pracowniczy. Spróbuję, wiecie? Spróbuję z tym zagadać.
Oh, hey,
Jakie to było
mister. I knew you'd be
prawdopodobieństwo?
back to talk with old Leo here. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. It's like Lady Larice said when she
Jezu,
opened
co
the
on tak
bathhouse
gada?
in the basement of my apartment building. They can only get so far before they're aching to get back. And lots of folk really did keep coming back.
Mam do ciebie kilka pytań, jeśli to nie kłopot.
No trouble at all, mister. No trouble at all.
Czekajcie,
It's
to
like
chyba
that
ta
old
pierwsza
saying,
opcja
oh, I'm
była,
just
tak.
making some covers for them containers here. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. So it's easier for the
28%.
crane operators to spot
No
them.
dobra, można go powtarzać. A nie, przepraszam, to jest czerwony, nie można go powtarzać. O, dobra.
Sure,
To
mister.
nie. Dobra, to nie chcę. Okej, no to wchodzimy dalej. Zobaczmy, co tutaj jest. Kawa w wielkich termosach wciąż jest jeszcze letnia. Czekajcie, te okularki, co one mi dawały? To dramaturgii -1. Teraz sobie popatrzę na te statystyki. No, dobra, nie jest tak źle. Wiecie co? Zbadam sobie jeszcze raz ten dziennik, ponieważ wiem, że jak się z nim skończy interakcję, to wtedy pojawia się, on się przekształca w dosyć użyteczny przedmiot. Czekajcie.
It's the ledger you found. Oh, and an incredibly cool piece of kitchen tissue
Rzut
stuck
na
to the back.
logikę 42%. Dobra.
It's proving to be harder than expected.
Damn it.
You just don't have the intellectual rigor to patch the quilt back together. Try again later.
Niestety. No i to otwieranie ewentualnie. Dobra, spróbuję sobie raz jeszcze.
It's the ledger you found. Oh,
Dobra,
and an
druga
incredibly
próba.
cool piece of kitchen tissue. Yes,
O,
you
udało
can
się.
piece them together using the alphanumeric code on the margin. It always begins with HDB41, then date of initialization and time of arrival on the scene, followed by the title. For example, HDB 41120117000, the next world mural.
Zaraz, HDB41, czy nie miało być w kolejności funkcjonariusz komisariat?
Why, yes, your precinct number is 41.
HDB?
Every last alphanumeric in the files begins with it. And these are your case files. It's safe to say HDB are your initials.
Horus Debi Berenger? Hram Darjan Binzakin? Nie, dobra. Ja wiem, że mam na imię Harry. To nie są moje inicjały, nie czuję ich. Albo o rany, nie wiem co na to odpowiedzieć.
I got nothing here either. Logic really isn't the best faculty to have this conversation with. But it's the one you got. So sorry. Yeah, we're staying out of this business for now. HDB is bad news from yesteryear. It's shit on show.
Ile czasu zajmie przeczytanie jednej ze spraw?
It takes about half an hour to piece one together using the system you've devised. Where do you want to start?
No dobra, to jedziemy. Mural Nowego Świata.
This one is relatively easy to reconstruct. Overnight on 1202, a graffito, nay, a mural, appears on an 8-story tenement overlooking central Jamrock. The building is a sparsely inhabited ghost tower, part of a failed real estate development called Grand Couronne. The mural is enormous, Two silhouettes, a man and a woman, are kissing. The text cut into their form reads, "True love is possible only in the next world. For new people, it is too late for us. Wreak havoc on the middle class. People call it that thing and that fucking thing. It's visible for miles. In 2 days, the station's complaints desk gets clogged with requests to remove the bummer. You and your partner are assigned to the case. The graffito crew is easy to track down. Only the belles-lettres have the literage of industrial paint to cover the surface. One of the graffito artists is rumored to be rich. They take responsibility for the execution, but not the design. The ideologue of the next world mural, as the crew calls it, remains an unknown.
Zaraz, ale czy dowiedziałem się kiedykolwiek, kto był pomysłodawcą?
The case files do not show you finding the author of the design.
Dobra, czytaj dalej.
The crew agrees to clean up after themselves. However, your partner, JV, is against the removal, citing public support for conservation. This leads to a debate in Precinct 41, which then spreads to the streets of Jamrock, ending in a rare plebiscite organized by you and the rest of Row 3. The 9,000 people subjected to the mural's message, all of Lakeside, Central Jamrock, and Villalobos, plus half of the eminent domain, participate in the vote. Although the case begins with what appears to be a lot of rambling on the streets as to how juvenile and stupid the mural is, given a choice between two options.
Doszło do wyboru między dwiema opcjami. Należy usunąć mural, jest niewłaściwy. Należy zachować mural, jest odpowiedni. Całujący się ludzie? Myślę, że odpowiednie. Czekajcie. Dobra, ja uznaję, że odpowiedni.
A staggering 78% of voters choose to keep it. Turns out the opposition were a loud minority, and that love truly is possible in the next world for new people, and it is too late for us.
Ciekawe opcje mam do wyboru. Pozostało nam tylko zniszczyć klasę średnią. Albo nie ma co winić klasy średniej, to po prostu ludzka natura. Podoba mi się, czy nie moglibyśmy zniszczyć raczej innych narodów? Albo musiałem zagłosować, w nawiasie, a może nawet i lobbować za usunięciem tego malowidła, bo ani trochę nie wierzę w tę bzdurę. Ja powiem, nie ma co winić klasy średniej, to po prostu ludzka natura.
Did anyone ask you what you believe in, man with the smelly toilet ledger? What do you want to tackle next? Or are we done?
Dobra, kolejna sprawa nazywa się sprawa nie do rozwiązania.
AKA Leslie and Burke. AKA the public indecency drunk and the property damage drunk is a cursed case. It has been passed from unsuspecting officer to unsuspecting officer for 10 years. On January 29, the unsolvable case made its way to you. Why you accepted it, it is unclear. Every officer, and indeed most civilians in Jamrock, know it's unsolvable. You were so drunk you didn't remember what it was when you signed on. That, or you were high.
No nie wiem.
Leslie will always take his pants off when he's drunk. Burke will always trash everything. It's just what they do. It is their nature. You cannot change the nature of a man, and you can't lock them away because public indecency and small-scale property damage are not punishable by incarceration. The only way for Leslie to stop flashing his genitals to bypassers and for Burke to stop dismantling signage and rear-view mirrors would be for them to stop drinking alcohol, which, in their 40s or 50s, it's hard to tell because of their distorted features, is a medical improbability on par with you ceasing to produce the expression.
Okej, a nie moglibyśmy po prostu nie pozwolić im wychodzić na ulicę?
You would think that, but you're wrong. Where's the fun in exposing your genitals or breaking stuff in your own home? No, Leslie and Burke are on the corner of Main Street and Perdition, because that's where the action is.
Okej, przejdź dalej.
Threatening, fines, dragging them to the station, locking them up in the hellholes they live in, locking them up in the station, hypnotherapy, even trying to get the local gang of Zemyaki to take them out. The Zemyaki gave them ethanol, so Burke and Leslie would expose and rampage even harder. You tried it all, and still the complaints wouldn't stop, as they hadn't stopped for 10 years.
Ależ z nich rozrabiaki, co? Nawet gang ich nie zatrzymał. Gang Zemliaków? Ciekawa nazwa.
It's plain to see from the files that you, Satellite Officer JV, and Special Consultant TH had more important cases to attend to. You uncover cross-reference to several ongoing investigations, each brought to a standstill every time you drive down Main Street. Because there they are, on the corner of Perdition. And what is Leslie doing?
Obnaża się w miejscu publicznym.
Good, you're learning. If the files are to be trusted, that's all there is to it. That and Burke breaking things, and the fact that they're both drunk. But then again, so are you. The case becomes considerably less comic one day when Burke takes a swing at your ledger. He must have it confused with the property he likes to damage. But the joke's on him. You're drunk out of your mind on potent Pilsner. You slam the hardened plastic board in his face. Then you proceed to beat him unconscious with it.
Wow. Nieźle.
In the process, the ledger sustains damage. The compartment within, reserved for permeable documents, is jammed shut. You stop your assault on the now unconscious Burke to open it, but are unable to do so. The officer began to cry, reports Leslie, who at this point is tending to Burke.
Czyli w ten sposób ten dziennik został uszkodzony.
Kill them. They broke it.
O, półmroczność, śmierę.
He
Kłania
came
do
at
złych
us
rzeczy.
and at us. I think he was trying to kill Burko. While trying to kill Burko, you slowly come around. The permeables compartment is open. You've smashed it open on poor Burko's kneecaps. The good news is, Burke can't walk anymore. Can't get out of his apartment, an invalid.
Oh,
With
morda.
Burke to tend to, Leslie cuts back on the indecent exposure. Maybe he flashes his genitals to Burke. Who knows? But both drunks are off the street. The complaints stop. The unsolvable case is solved.
Czyli wystarczyło im spuścić w pierdol.
Which is also why the officer responsible narrowly escapes a disciplinary hearing. The end. Do you want to read another one?
Fajne jest to, że za każdą sprawę dostaje plus 5 doświadczenia. Lecimy z koksem. Kolejna sprawa. Morderstwa z kwadratowymi kulami. Brzmi ciekawie.
It would be very interesting to read about these, wouldn't it? I mean, there seems to be a square-shaped entry wound in the victim's forehead. She's been sitting there for weeks, on her rocking chair, with a square hole in her skull, staring
Ale?
at the wall, her mouth agape.
Ale...
That's all you got. From the half hour you spent piecing it together, all you know is the entry wound was square-shaped. You never found the bullet. And then another body showed up, also with a square hole in his forehead. Toxicology showed the entry wound was laced with an incredibly potent psychoactive substance called HUV4-nil. No street name.
To bardzo ciekawe. Substancja psychoaktywna w ranie. Seryjny morderca? Mogę zapytać.
Who knows? Those pages are missing. What next? Don't worry. One day.
Dzięki wewnętrzne imperium. Dobra, kolejna sprawa. Kanapa w nieoczekiwanym miejscu.
Some assholes brought their couch outside and hung out on it. In the middle of the street, on the roof, on the hillside by the motorway. You know, at an unexpected location. They were young and they thought they looked cool on it.
Wyglądali naprawdę czadowo, jak zespół rockowy.
Yes, as you've said here, insufferable rock and roll assholes. Young people are the worst. So anyway, you got a complaint about the damn sofa, or couch, or whatever it was. They were leaving it out in all these unexpected and whimsical locations. They took it to where they also took photos of themselves on it, and smoked cigarettes and drank coffee because they felt it's intellectual.
Bardzo intelektualne. Dobra.
Cigarette butts, coffee cups, stupid couch. You had to clean it all up, and you did. So congratulations to you. Case solved.
Złapałem w ogóle tych chłopaczków?
No, you didn't have time for that. These notes show that you have what is called a real goddamn job. You don't have time to be chasing down the couch assholes. You have a real job to do. What next?
Dobra, ostatnia sprawa. Morderstwo w palarni fajek wodnych.
Murder. Tum 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 at the hookah parlor was a case originally assigned to an officer called Joseph Mills, who is now dead, of circumstances completely unconnected to murder at the hookah parlor.
Chwila, jak zginął?
Beaten to death by a throng of Villalobos gang members when him and his partner J.M., only initials mentioned, answered a call one night. It's a sad story, and it isn't really represented in your case files. Stop stalling and get to the murder at the hookah parlor.
Dobra. Czas na to morderstwo.
Joseph Mills was on this case that he just couldn't solve, was doing it solo, said it was a real nutcracker, a real brain twister, was on it for, like, a month. The captain got impatient. Shit or get off the pot, Mills. Mills didn't get off the pot. Not yet. He kept at it for a couple of weeks more, racking his brains, running with every theory, as outlandish as they seemed. Still couldn't solve the murder at the hookah parlor. Tough case, he said. Toughest he's ever had.
Chwila, czy Joseph Mills był dobrym gliną?
No, he was awful. Awful sense of humor, too. The worst jokes you've ever heard. Really rapey. Still, he'd been on it for months now. Said it was the final case. Said it was uncrackable. That murderer vanished into thin air. That goddamn hookah parlor was all he talked about.
Idźmy dalej.
Okay, so the case is handed to you because Mills isn't getting anywhere, and you look into it. Here's the setup. A young man is found dead in a hookah parlor. You know, those places where you go and smoke bubblegum-flavored vapor all day.
Da się tym naćpać?
No, it's soot and water vapor. It doesn't do anything.
Ale czadowe.
Yeah, really lame. So anyway, young man in his 20s found with his skull busted open, right on the floor of the hookah parlor, in the middle of the day. No one else is in there. Only client that day. In perfect health, too. Some kind of movie producer. No one enters. No one exits. He's just sucking on his watermelon hookah all morning, all noon, like he usually does. He's a regular. No calls, nothing. Just sucking on the hookah until 15:45. Then bam, he's dead on the floor with his skull busted open. Blood everywhere. What happened? How can it be?
No właśnie.
Mills has no idea. Invisible assassin. Movie deal gone sour. Girl at the counter did it. Nothing fits. Eerie. Man just dropped dead. So you go to the parlor. You see cushions around the table. Tables low, heavy, really sharp edge.
No dobra. Zaciągnął się fajką, wstał, stracił przytomność, uderzył głową w stół i umarł?
See? You can't even read the thing without solving it. Yeah.
Nice.
It was that. Turns out hookah does do something. It turns off your brain's oxygen supply, and you don't notice it until you get up to go to the bathroom.
Ale co on tam robił przez 6 godzin?
Smoking hookah. Didn't you hear? I don't know. Trying to come up with a movie script, maybe. Anyway, that was murder at the hookah parlor. Joseph Mills wasn't a good detective, and about 30 minutes has passed piecing it together. Next.
Mogę wrócić do tego później. Schowaj akta
Not
sprawy.
much has changed in the meanwhile. A bunch of sodden papers still sags from the clipboard.
Zobaczcie. Mogę otworzyć ukrytą przegródkę teraz i mam +2 do tego rzutu. Złamią na kolanie jak burk. Jak berg, przepraszam. 83%. No dobra. Myślę, że to zrobię. Ale i tak sobie zapiszę. Po co ryzykować?
It's the ledger. Oh, and an incredibly
Ale już to
cool
robiliśmy
piece of
oczywiście, więc tam nie będę się za bardzo
stuck to the
skupiać.
back. The two sides of the board appear slightly misaligned, like a drawer that's come off its slides. If you bend the plastic on your knee slowly, the slides snap back into place. It should be possible to just, you know.
No właśnie, i ostatnio ta opcja mnie zabiła, ponieważ przeczytałem w tym notatniku jakąś historię mojego bohatera z kobietą, która po prostu go zabiła wręcz. Powiem, chwila, z jakiegoś powodu nie chcę.
What are you waiting for? Just. That's because you know where this leads to.
Dobra, na chwilę to może otworzę.
Without resistance or sound, the two panels move against each
Co jest w
other.
środku?
Two ticket stubs and a handmade postcard.
Aha, okej, dobra, to tutaj już to sprawdzałem. Weź odcinki
Two
biletów.
octopuses are smiling, reaching their
Bilety do
tentacles
zoo.
toward each other in the colored pencil
Weź
drawings.
kartkę, przejdź
The
dalej.
tickets permit access to. You feel that thing in the back of your head, that little voice, that quiet scream. You already felt you've got business to deal with first. Talk to the union boss first, at least. I can't stop you for long, but there's just enough of an excuse now.
Ciekawe, wcześniej nie miałem tej opcji. Siła woli. Mówi mi, że mam sprawy do załatwienia najpierw. No dobra. Weź kartkę, przejdź dalej. Dobra, przechodzę dalej, bo już wiem, do czego to prowadzi.
You feel that thing in the back of you.
Aha.
You've got business to deal with first.
A co będzie, jak
Talk
powiem,
to the
zabij się,
union boss
kurwa,
first.
dupku?
The words just crossed your mind somehow.
Do kogo były skierowane?
Who do you think? You.
Zamknij przegródkę na delikatne materiały.
It's slightly, ever so slightly, difficult to breathe once you've done so. The drawer is locked. Blue ink drips from the white pages in your hand.
To jest ciekawe, czyli widzicie, teraz jak mam siłę woli na odpowiednio wysokim poziomie, to ona mnie zatrzymała przed otworzeniem tej sprawy.
Your hand shakes. You're flushed with adrenaline.
No dobra, no to chowam ten notatnik. To ciekawe. Wcześniej jak wszedłem w te opcje zagłębienia się w tę historię, to ten notatnik jakby zmienił się w coś innego. Wiodące do góry schody z palet. Dobra. O! Kojarzę tego gościa z intra. Co on tutaj ma za rybkę? Wypchana, podająca godzinę ryba. Okej. Dobra, to gadamy z tym gościem.
Before you is a walrus of a man seated behind a large desk. He looks up from his work, not the least bit surprised to see you.
Ale ma rozjebane na boki oczy, co? Evrart Claire.
With great effort, he straightens himself up in his chair, yet says nothing. He simply stares at you.
Czy to ty stoisz na czele pracowników portowych?
Welcome, Mr. Dubois, Mr. Kitsuragi. It's good of you two to stop by. Please, have a seat. I'm Evrart Claire, head of the Debarders Union here in Martinez.
Mężczyzna odpręża się w swoim fotelu i kontynuuje.
I'd offer you my hand, but unfortunately my health prevents me from getting up. You understand?
He looks extremely comfortable. The tiny folding chair, on the other hand, looks like a torture device.
Okej.
You go ahead, detective.
Porucznik kiwa na ciebie głową, po czym wskazuje nią krzesło.
Whatever he has in store for you, it can't be good, he thinks. I'll do my best. Forget about that. What's with this Dubois stuff? You're getting some seriously bad vibes from that name.
Aż dwie wskazówki. No dobra, idę za wewnętrznym imperium. Czemu nazywa mnie pan panem Dubois?
Please, Mr. Dubois, let us converse in a civilized manner, as equals. Take a seat. I insist.
It's nothing. Yes, that's probably right. It's nothing. Forget about it. Filter it out.
Czego mam to odrzucić? No dobra, usiądź.
Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you are a reasonable man, and reasonable men can be of great use to one another.
Puszcza do ciebie szelmowsko oko. Spróbuj odpowiedzieć puszczeniem oczka.
So tell me, how can the head of the Debarders Union help a representative of the Revachol Citizens Militia today?
Milicja obywatelska Revacholu. Jak to się rozwija po angielsku? Revachol Citizens Militia. Okej.
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable chair in the
Ouch.
world. It's violating your backside.
Ała, krzesło mnie zraniło.
Oh, by the way, I heard you got a rather rude reception from a certain Lawrence Gart. Some people have no manners, it pains me to say.
No nie był zbyt miły, to prawda.
This should take care of that nonsense.
Wskazuje na czek o rozmiarach tak wielkich, że aż komicznych.
It should be sufficient to cover your expenses for a few days and patch over your differences with a cafeteria manager. Go ahead, take it.
Czyli łapóweczka.
Hey, that's 25 real. That's good money. Think of all the stuff you could.
Chwileczkę, znacie się z Gartem?
Yes, I know Lawrence. He's a real character. No union man in him. A real piece of work, that boy is.
Weź absurdalnie duży czek, lecz nic nie mów.
Is there anything you'd like to say to me? Or,
Zdobyłem wielki, krzykliwy czek. Żadnego komentarza, pyta Evrart.
No.
Siła woli mówi nie. Nie, spoko, masz swoje zasady.
cool? I wouldn't go that far. I'm sure there are cooler things than delivering a comically oversized novelty check to a cafeteria manager. But, sure, if that's what's cool nowadays. Now, I'd like to set your mind at ease about one other matter. Your lost gun. Let me assure you, Union people are on it as we speak. I've got my best hounds looking for that lost gun.
O, proszę. Dwie sprawy naraz może nawet się uda załatwić tutaj.
His slug-like lips move, but all you hear is an echo. Lost gun, lost gun, lost gun. The world is swallowed by a black hole of fear.
Wow.
Only 2 words escape its gravitational pull.
Kurde, zaraz zginę.
And gun.
Zobaczcie, morale już mi spadło do 1 punkta. Czy ja mogę sobie tutaj... A, mogę zregenerować w czasie rozmowy. Uff, dobra. A ty, skąd ty wiesz o mojej zagubionej broni?
I know everything, Harry. Right now, I know that you're worried. Don't be worried. Everything's going to be all right. It's not like you left it loaded. You didn't lose a loaded gun. Local children aren't out there playing with it right now, pointing it into their own mouths. It's in a safe place. I just know it. I have a feeling everything's going to be all right.
I zobaczcie, jest tutaj rzut na opanowanie, ale mam masę różnych kar. Na przykład -1, wziąłeś wielki, krzykliwy czek, czyli jakby już jestem pod jego wpływem. +1 mam za to, że nie podziękowałem za niego. -2 za to, że cierpię przez krzesło. I -1 strach od efektów ubocznych. Jejku. kurczę, mogą nie siadać. Dobra, Kim, odwróć się do Kima.
Officer, we will deal with this later. We don't need Mr. Claire's help with this.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Kurczę, i muszę wykonać ten rzut. 3% szans. O, w mordę, to chyba mnie zabije. No ale cóż, od czego jest zapis, prawda?
God, you're sweating. Your knee is jerking. You're about to cry, aren't you? You're about to cry because you lost your gun and those children are gonna shoot themselves with it.
No i co, mężczyznom też wolno płakać.
You want to cry? God, you're weak. Whatever you do, don't cry. He'll think you're disgusting.
Aż tak?
Mr. Dubois, you don't look so good.
What is this, Mr. Dubois? He keeps repeating. What is he trying to pull here? You need to cool the fuck down. Chill.
Jesus, ta rozmowa mnie zabije.
Mr. Dubois! Mr. Dubois! Harry!
Korpulentny mężczyzna pstryka palcami, ale bezskutecznie. Ugrzązłeś w stanie kompletnej niemocy. Nie ma żadnych charych. Pozwól umysłowi odpłynąć w bezpieczne miejsce. Albo zjeżdżaj dalej z krzesła jak grudka dżemu. Jezu, nie wiem. Zjeżdżaj dalej z krzesła jak grudka dżemu.
Mr. Dubois, are you okay? Can I get you a glass of water or something? Are you having some kind of medical emergency?
Maybe you could use your hands somehow. In a kind of throw-in motion. Like you're throwing that Mr. Dubois act right back at him. He's Mr. Dubois.
O kurczę, nie wiem co mam wybrać. Nie, wszystko ze mną idealnie w porządku, panie Dubois. Wykonaj nad głową nieokreślone gesty rękami. Albo o tak, stary, jest zajebiście, zsuwaj się dalej. Dobra, to biorę, nie wiem.
Don't be dramatic. I can see your condition isn't terminal.
What an odd demonstration of... you got me, Harry. I don't even know what. As entertaining as it was, I'm afraid we're wasting our time. And I'm an extremely busy man, as I'm sure you are too.
Okay, enough. We are here to ask you some questions pertaining to a murder investigation.
Quick, here's your window. Get yourself together and ask him questions. Police officer questions. It is about time to stop embarrassing yourself. Questions will help you regain some of your lost dignity.
No kurczę. Bardzo ciekawa rozmowa. No, powiem wam szczerze, że przeprowadzę ją jeszcze raz.
You need this to get in and out through the gate.
Co takiego?
Here, you're one of us now.
Karta
A
członkowska.
real red and white union man. Take care, Harry.
Czyli co, dał mi po prostu łapówę i uczynił mnie członkiem związku? Kurde, jeszcze dał mi wielki, krzykliwy czek. No nie mogę. Dobra, chyba będę powtarzać po prostu tę rozmowę, no ale to już w kolejnym odcinku. Mam nadzieję, że wam się podobało. Jeżeli tak, zostawcie łapkę w górę. No i pomyślcie też o subskrypcji, jeżeli chcecie otrzymywać powiadomienia. Widzimy się w następnym odcinku. Trzymajcie się. Wszystkiego dobrego. Cześć!